Bitterness is subtle. It does not arrive with trumpets or make grand declarations. It seeps in, uninvited, when someone is wronged, by betrayal, abandonment, rejection, or injustice. It enters through disappointment and takes root in silence. It starts with a thought, "I didn't deserve this." Then it becomes a belief, "I will never let this happen again." Finally, it becomes a vow, "No one will ever get that close again." This is how bitterness begins, not as rage, but as a quiet attempt to protect a wounded heart. Bitterness disguises itself as wisdom. It offers false strength, the illusion of control, of safety, of certainty. It builds walls instead of boundaries. It hides behind sarcasm, withdrawal, or perfectionism. It numbs what it cannot fix and freezes what it cannot forget. But it never offers peace. Agape is the antidote to bitterness. Not because it undoes the pain, but because it transforms what pain does to the soul. Agape is a Greek word that refers to self-giving, sacrificial, unconditional love. It is not romantic, nor possessive, nor sentimental. It is the love with which God loves humanity. It is the love that remains, even when there is nothing left to gain. To choose agape over bitterness is to choose transformation over stagnation. It is to say, "I will not be defined by the worst things done to me. I will not carry this venom in my veins. I will not chain myself to the hurt of others by reliving it through my reactions." Agape does not excuse abuse. It does not stay in toxic situations. It does not say, "It's okay." It says, "It's not okay, but I will not let it poison me." Bitterness is a wound that refuses to close. It becomes part of the identity. It shapes how one sees people, how one prays, how one trusts. Bitterness whispers, "Everyone leaves, everyone lies, no one will understand." Agape does not silence pain. It speaks truth, but with gentleness. It calls things by name without malice. It says, "I was hurt, but I will not become the hurt." It recognizes that pain carried long enough becomes character, and if left unchecked, it can shape a life into a replica of the very wound it despised. There is a subtle tyranny in bitterness. It offers power, but it costs connection. It offers certainty, but robs wonder. It allows us to feel right, but leaves us alone. Agape, on the other hand, brings uncertainty. It requires openness, risk, humility. But in exchange, it brings peace, healing, and dignity. Jesus Christ exemplified agape. On the cross, in agony, he cried out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." That is not weakness. That is strength that can withstand hatred without reciprocating it. That is love so strong it refuses to be reduced by evil. Saints have chosen agape in the face of betrayal and suffering. Saint Stephen, the first martyr, cried out for the forgiveness of those stoning him. Saint Maria Goretti forgave her murderer. Saint Maximilian Kolbe offered his life for a stranger in Auschwitz. None of these saints ignored pain. They felt it fully, but they transfigured pain into love. The Catechism of the Catholic Church describes charity, agape, as the form of all the virtues, CCC 1827. Without love, faith is empty. Without love, hope is hollow. Love is what gives meaning to sacrifice, to suffering, and to service. Choosing agape is choosing God's way. Bitterness, by contrast, warps the soul over time. It hardens, calcifies, and builds an inner narrative that reinterprets everything through pain. It cannot receive love because it expects betrayal. It cannot give love because it fears vulnerability. Bitterness is a false armor. It protects from nothing and isolates from everything. Agape makes the soul porous again. It opens us to grace. It allows the Spirit to move within. It does not require us to trust recklessly or expose ourselves to further abuse, but it does require us to drop the weapon of resentment. Forgiveness is the bridge between bitterness and agape. Forgiveness is not forgetting, condoning, or reconciling. It is the decision to no longer seek retribution, emotionally, spiritually, or relationally. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It is a daily discipline. It is often an ache before it becomes a peace. There are many ways bitterness tries to justify itself. They never apologized. They don't deserve forgiveness. If I forgive, they win. These thoughts come from a world ruled by merit and vengeance. Agape is not of this world. It is supernatural. It frees the one who loves, even if the other remains unchanged. Bitterness remembers only the injury. Agape remembers the person beyond the injury. Bitterness clings to identity as victim. Agape steps into the identity of beloved child of God. Choosing agape over bitterness means seeing the face of Christ even in the one who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because Christ dwells in all, and agape refuses to deny that truth. This path is not easy. It requires prayer. It requires surrender. It often requires tears, but it leads to freedom. And freedom is the call of every human soul. St. Paul reminds us in Romans chapter 12 verse 21. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. This is the essence of agape. Bitterness wants to return evil for evil. Agape transforms evil into occasion for grace. This choice is not passive. Agape is fierce. It has boundaries. It knows when to say no. But it says no from love, not from vengeance. It walks away when necessary, but with peace, not poison. Agape allows us to bless instead of curse, even if only from a distance. It allows us to love without allowing ongoing harm. It allows us to release the burden of proving ourselves, of being right, of winning. To choose agape is to release the right to nurse the wound. It is to stop rehearsing conversations that will never happen. It is to stop waiting for the other to change. It is to choose freedom now. This does not mean we stop grieving. Grief is holy, but agape invites us to grieve without clinging to bitterness. It invites us to feel the pain without becoming it. The longer bitterness is held, the heavier it becomes. It begins to alter posture, tone, memory. It darkens the imagination. Agape, however, renews the mind. It gives hope. It allows light to enter again. Agape trusts that God sees, God knows, and God redeems. Bitterness believes that unless we keep the wound open, the injustice will be forgotten. But God forgets nothing. God is justice and mercy. God will not waste suffering. To choose agape is to entrust justice to God. It is to say, I do not need to carry this anymore. I lay it at your feet. And in that laying down, something shifts. Agape is not soft. It is not passive. It is the most courageous choice we can make. It says, I will be different. I will not pass on this pain. I will not teach others to harden. I will show them another way. Every saint has chosen agape. Every martyr has embraced it. Every healed person has come to it. The path to freedom always winds through this valley. There are no shortcuts. Agape is the love that sees the dignity of the other, even when the other has forgotten it. It chooses to act from a place of truth, not reaction. It is anchored in eternity, not circumstance. Bitterness may feel good in the moment, but it steals the future. Agape may hurt in the moment, but it births something eternal. So today, again, we choose agape. Not because we feel like it, not because they deserve it, not because we are strong, but because we are loved, because Christ chose us, because the Spirit lives in us, and because this is the way.